Government forecasters predicted today we could see the return this year of the weather system known as El Nino, and it could bring much needed rain to the west. 95% of California is in drought, and Ben Tracy tells us some scientists are now warning of a mega drought.
Scientist Lynn Ingram uses sediment cores inside these tubes to study the history of drought in the West. How far back in history can we go?
Well, we've taken this record back about 3,000 years.
That record shows California is in one of its driest periods since the year 1580. We think of a 3 to 5 year drought as being a long drought. Historically, is that a long drought?
And historically, if we go back, several thousand years, we've seen that droughts can last over a decade, and in some cases they can last over a century.
The evidence of these so-called mega droughts is found in San Francisco Bay. Ingram and her team at the University of California, Berkeley, removed the sediment from the bay in nearby marshes. So when we go through periods of drought, what do you notice in the sample?
What you notice is that the vegetation shifts to more salt-tolerant type vegetation.
That's because during drought, there is less freshwater runoff into the bay. Tree rings on ancient tree stumps tell the same story. Narrow or non-existent rings during decades of drought.
These patterns tend to repeat themselves. I mean, we can expect that this will happen again.
Scientists say their research shows the 20th century was actually one of the wettest centuries in the past 1,300 years. During that time, we built massive dams and rerouted rivers. We used abundant water to build major cities and create a $45 billion agriculture industry in a place that used to be a desert. Even after several inches of rain last week, the drought continues. Ingram believes the state should be prepared for that eventual 100-year-long dry period. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Berkeley, California.
The big problem in the West is not enough snow. These NASA photos show how badly the drought is taking a toll. Snowfall in the Sierra Nevada is tiny compared to the same time last year. That snowpack provides much of California's drinking water. And look at this. California suffered more than 400 wildfires in January. Last year, in the same month, there were none.
All right, not a lot of rain or snow on those maps for California, and that is not good, with the state in its worst drought since 1977.
Governor Jerry Brown is trying to make sure residents appreciate just how serious this situation is. He says everyone across the state needs to do their part.
In a normal year, California's Folsom Lake looks like this. But this is what it looks like right now, at dangerously low levels. The Sierra Nevada mountains usually store much of California's drinking water in the form of snow. On the left, last year. On the right, this year, with just 12% of the usual snow. State health officials say 17 communities and water districts, mostly in rural areas, are now within 100 days of running dry. Digging new wells and hauling in water are two ways they will be helped. California Governor Jerry Brown is calling on residents to do whatever it takes to conserve.
Don't flush more than you have to. Don't shower longer than you need to. And turn the water off when you're shaving or brushing your teeth.
Brown declared a drought emergency 2 weeks ago. He's asking Californians to voluntarily use 20% less water, but that could change.
Every day this drought goes on, we're going to have to tighten the screws on what people are doing.
The San Francisco Bay Area has seen less than 10% of the rainfall it ordinarily sees by this point in its rainy season. Forecasters say rain would have to fall heavily every day through May to bring conditions back to normal.